Flipendo, Protego, Levioso, Bombarda.
Hello. I was hoping I'd see you today.
Confringo.
You look well.
Ferdinand's going hysterical. He's acting like an utter moon mind.
You're a sight for sore eyes. Greetings. Lovely to see you. Look who it is. Hope you're taking care of yourself. Oh, hello. Keeping well, I hope. Hello there.
Blimey. Annoying poltergeist. When's Black gonna throw him out? I hope you know what you're doing. Ugh, it's like a giant fly. Peeves needs a hobby. A different hobby. Whoever's responsible for this, that's not funny. Watch this. Ah! Impressive, isn't it? Get it away! Get it away! I'm barely even trying. Want to see a real spell? No! Leviosa! Leviosa! No! What are you looking at? Peeves, you annoying little... Get out of here! Someone really ought to banish him. For good.
Perhaps Ranrock and Hislop wouldn't be so combative if the Ministry would allow them to have wands. In Hogsmeade, they're saying that Ranrock's loyalists are preparing for a rebellion. You know you can't do that. I don't think that's what that class is for.
Professor Hecat! Someone's in trouble. I hope it isn't me. You were well off target. Let me down this instant. Haha, missed. Put me back on the ground now. Ah, that's hot. Ugh, stop that. Out! Out! Put it out!
Hello, Professor Black.
There's plenty more where that came from. Hurts, doesn't it? Draw any blood? Not even a scratch. What? Are those plants? Make it stop! You some kind of herbologist? No, that's mine. My wand. I'm really beginning to tire of this. Oh, I think I may be sick. My ears are still ringing. Oh, I hope I never hear that again. A broom! They'd better be careful up there. Is there a person riding that graphorn? Are graphorns so easily tamed? However did they do that? Seems a bit frightening riding a hippogriff. I don't know if I could do it. You're the one who saved young Archie Bickle, aren't you? I want a hippogriff.
I can't believe you rescued Isco Rabe. It's amazing.
You showed that vile Rookwood. There's a rumour going round that you freed a hippogriff from poachers. That true? Rumour has it Sebastian Sallow got detention for you. I can't believe he'd do that. It's very sad Anne Sallow can't come to Hogwarts this year. I quite liked her. Shouldn't you be in your robes? It's not time for bed. I couldn't believe it when you beat Imelda. The best flyer in school actually lost a race. Why in the world do I always see you with Professor Fig? I'd stay far away from that man if it was me. You were there when the goblins attacked Hogwarts, yes? Whatever was it like? Yay! Woo! It's a shame about Professor Fig. I didn't really know him myself, but still, I'm very sorry. A little room, everyone. Let them through. We'll see how you like it.
Lenora Everleigh's acting a bit potty. Talking to an empty frame.
I don't want to get in trouble the first day.
There really was something to those treasure maps Arthur's been going on about after all.
Nellie, please get down. A professor could arrive any moment. If I get caught, I shan't defend you. Checkmate. Give 'em what for?
I wish I could simply charm my exercise books to finish my homework for me. I shall never get my homework done at this rate. I haven't even got to beasts. She's always showing off about her puffskein grooming. Fur like silk. What shine? Ugh, I could be sick. I tried telling Hecat that someone cast Evanesco on my assignment. She said if I didn't get it sorted, I'd be the one getting vanished.
People who boast are insecure. That's what my mother told me, and she knows everything. At least that's what she told me. If I'm honest, I wish I had something to boast about, but I'm hopeless at everything. Oh! I suppose that's something to boast about. But it's always so noisy in the common room, and then I can't concentrate, so I end up just talking to everyone and nothing gets done. I'd much prefer it if everyone could simply use all of the common rooms. I'm not a fan of mine, and frankly I find the decor quite depressing. Ugh, don't get the password wrong is all I can say. I couldn't agree more. She put a bow truckle under my bed, and I know it was her. She's looking for trouble, that one. Looking for it. Well, I woke up to one, wriggling its foul little tongue up my nose it was. There's not 1 week gone by I haven't had a howler from my mother. She's doing it deliberately. It's because I left my room in a mess. My mother sends the foulest owls. I'm talking about the actual owls. I can't help it if I was having a nightmare. Serves them right for talking about letherfolds right before bed. My sister's always wanting quills made of whooper feathers. She's always after the latest fad.
I've told her, a nib's a nib. They say herbology is the study of magical and mundane plants. Don't you find it chilly in the greenhouses? It always surprises me how cool it is. Makes no sense to me why first years don't study Abyssinian shrivel figs. Why should they escape the torment? I should have known better than to buy something from a child walking the streets of Hogsmeade. Little scallywag. Gold, they said it was. More like the work of a leprechaun. Stuff disappeared in a few hours. I'm such a moon mind. I always feel quite safe in Hogsmeade. It's your own fault if you come unstuck. That's what my mother would say. And certainly keep away from the Hog's Head. Most untoward. I'd rather Howin be teaching potions than Sharp. I don't like how often he mentions common poisons. It's like he's planning something. What? It's not implausible. Professor Howin was carrying some pearl dust the other day. Obviously, I asked her if it was for a love potion. Her face just contorted. You'd think I'd just beat her at gobstones. I wish teachers wouldn't ask us questions in class. I'm always tongue-tied, unless it's Professor Garlick, or I suppose Weasley, or an eye. Thinking about it, it's really just Sharp. If you pay attention, Sharp has plenty of useful advice regarding antidotes. I think people are too hard on him myself. I can't help it if I've never encountered a dangerous beast. When Howin asked me, I said I once had a canary. She almost threw me out of class. I saw a first year get the rhythm wrong once, trying to get to the Hufflepuff common room. You've never seen so much laughter. Ugh, she does fuss. There are specific rules about bringing beasts into the dormitory, and she should be expelled for it. What's she going to bring in next? Trolls? I can tell you with full assurance that there isn't one plant that is not mundane. Every one of them looks as if it's about to take a death drop into the porridge. Surprised the mandrakes don't make more of a fuss. You're clearly up to no good. You're not supposed to be flying here. You do not belong here. I spent all night working on my history of magic essay. Almost fell asleep in class today. Though I suppose that's normal in history of magic. The headmaster would never allow a student in here. Other than a prefect, of course. No untoward visitors skulking about here. No prowlers creeping around here. Just when I think I'm finished with my schoolwork, I remember another assignment. If it's not 12 inches of parchment for potions, it's 20 inches for charms. On my authority as a prefect, I command any unauthorised students to present themselves. Ugh, I can't wait to have a nap in front of the fire in the common room later. After Sharp's last class, I've earned it. Made the mistake of leaving my potions homework in the common room. I'm convinced Peeves absconded with it. Professor Sharp asked me what the ingredients are for an Ali Hotsy draft, and I could not stop giggling. Most embarrassing. And appropriate, I suppose. I'm convinced I'm the only one in my dormitory who doesn't snore. I shall need a sleeping draught to get a good night's sleep if it keeps up. A girl in our dormitory keeps getting packages of homemade pasties from her family. We shan't fit into our robes for next term at this rate. Chinese chomping cabbages terrify me. Something about a leafy vegetable with teeth seems extremely unnatural. I'm convinced that Binns called on me in class the other day just to embarrass me. How am I supposed to know what year the flu network was invented? Don't get me started on how horrifying venomous tentacular are. Why we're forced to engage with them in class instead of just reading about them is beyond me. To be honest, anything I could get in Diagon Alley this year, I was able to find in Hogsmeade. I only speak up in classes where the teacher doesn't deduct house points for wrong answers. To be fair, I don't say much. My sister will be home for the holidays this year. Hope she's bought me a new beater's bat. We're bound to have Quidditch next year. I wonder how many secret passages Hogwarts actually has. I stumbled on one the other day. Couldn't find my way out for hours. Missed my favourite meal, I did. Kidney pie. Wonder how well our professors did when they were students. Can't all have been top of their class, can they? Gives me some hope to think of, at least. Where do the professors sleep? Surely they don't share a common room like the students, do they? My family loves going to the Quidditch World Cup. Father was on the Barnton amateur team for a bit. Been obsessed with the sport ever since. I have family in Eyndale. Father wants me to visit them, but I haven't had the time. Or the inclination. I'd wager Ravenclaw Tower has some of the best views in the castle. Someone saw a hippogriff fly right past the window once. Life is so peaceful in the hamlets. Well, when goblins aren't lurking around every corner. Can't be good for business. Imelda Reyes acts as if she invented Quidditch. I don't think she's even that good at it. I used to enjoy flying, but there are so many rules now. Madame Kagawa's certainly strict. I thought flying was supposed to be fun. Can't wait till I'm old enough to apparate. No more falling off brooms for me. I adore shopping in Hogsmeade after it snowed. It's so... what's the word? Magical. The only reason I'd want to play Quidditch is to wear those uniforms. So fashionable. Black only looks out for the purebloods. He couldn't care less about the rest of us. I don't think a single student likes Professor Black. They may pretend to like him, but they don't. Black is without a doubt the worst headmaster in the history of Hogwarts. He's not behind me, is he? It's always so exciting to see the owls come swooping into the Great Hall. I think Transfiguration is the hardest subject. It requires such precision and concentration. One wrong move and you've got a grouse instead of a mouse. I adore getting owls from back home. My father sends me one almost every week. My mother always responds to my owls very swiftly. How many owls do you think Hogwarts has? I don't understand why people go on about vanishment being difficult. It's only one incantation. Evanesco. There, that's it. That sounded suspicious. Caught you. I thought potions required precision, but Transfiguration makes potions seem easy. Quite puts it to shame if you ask me. The food that appears in the Great Hall isn't conjured. The house elves make it. Is someone sneaking about? It was nothing after all. You should have known better than to cross my path. People like her and Gareth Weasley are the reason we have new spells and potions. You should be thanking her. Must be the night air playing tricks. I simply adore watching hippogriffs in flight. Reckon they have a nice view from up there. I hope they know what they're doing on that thing. Looks like somebody's ready for bed. How is it that Professor Fig always seems to be away? I keep hoping that Professor Fig isn't dead after all. That somehow he managed to survive. I knew there'd be a troll attack. Saw it in my tea leaves, and would anybody listen? Any of Ranrock's loyalists that are left should be thrown straight into Azkaban. You really put Imelda in her place. Well done. Brilliant work beating everyone at cross wands. I see you and Poppy are always together. You must like beasts. Or Poppy, I suppose. Incredible job at Summoner's Court. I really enjoyed seeing that. Strange to see you without Natty. Nice to see she found a friend. Hopefully her mother approves. You and Sebastian are quite the twosome these days. Hopefully you're cheering him up a bit. You and our meat seem to get along well. You must be learning a lot about the stars. You've been spending a lot of time with Imelda lately. You must be good on a broom. I saw you fight that troll in the village. You were incredible. Seems you and Everett are best friends now. Hope he doesn't get you expelled. Ferdinand looked absolutely miserable in the Hogshead. Should have known Ferdinand would weasel his way back to the Three Broomsticks. I can't believe Ferdinand's not at the Three Broomsticks anymore. Last I heard, those spells aren't to be used. You beat Sebastian in a duel, didn't you? Brilliant! What's the point of keeping anything locked up? You should know I wrote to the Daily Prophet about you saving the school. Perhaps mind what you're doing there. How wonderful that the bells are ringing again.
Flipendo!
Do mind where you're going.
Flipendo!
Don't let Moon catch you making a mess.
Flipendo! Levioso! Levioso! Protego! Levioso! Protego! Confringo! 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 Protego!
Flipendo.
Levioso!
Glacius.
Protego! Confringo!
You'd think Madame Scribner would do something about a portrait screaming in the library.
I'm pleased to see you. Bombarda, I'm glad to see you. Keeping well, I hope. Nice to see you. You look well. Hello. I hope everything is well. Hello there. Good to see you. Greetings. I hope school's treating you well. How do you do? Nice to see you.
When I get my hands on those bullies, I'm soaked through. What's the spell I need? I'm sure I know it. Why won't it wear off? I'm too cold to cast anything. Perhaps I could conjure an umbrella. Some people are really horrible. Can't stop shivering. Merlin, I'm cold. Snow? Surely there's a spell. Oh, it's over. Finally. He's going to burn down the school. One of those goblins comes near me, I'll hand him his hat. Or helm, I suppose. Brutes. Always mucking about, stirring up trouble. Anyway, I'm not afraid of a goblin rebellion. My marks in Professor Hecat's class are superb. How dare you speak to a prefect that way? The headmaster's on the prowl. That's it. 50 house points.
Woo! Woo! Whoa! Whoa! Woo! Whoa! Woo! 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 Woo!
The headmaster. Oh no. Well done solving where that treasure map led to. Do you think someone funded Lenora Everly? I can't think why else she'd be talking to an empty frame. I still can't believe that girl wrote her essay on shrinking solutions and thought it would be clever to shrink it before handing it in. Act like a winner. I certainly make sure I stay abreast of my homework. Teachers don't like it if you fall behind, especially Weasley. At least you didn't do what that first year did. Spent hours collecting Dittany only to find it was old weeds. I think it's a sign when you're the best at something. Take me, for example. Hecate said I'd make a wonderful aura. Imagine, I've learned almost all of the Goblin Rebellions off by heart. You can test me. Go on, test me. Why would I want to hear what you're good at? Sometimes the prefect sits next to me. Well, one time they did, in the common room. Mind you, it was the only seat left. And I did ask them to. I heard that someone cast the Confunder's charm on a Ravenclaw 4th year so they couldn't answer the riddle. I've seen the boys looking very sheepish lately. I suspect most Slytherins would prefer not to be in a dungeon, myself. I think rules against beasts in the dormitories should be enforced. Just because it was a puffskein. And the boys don't make it any easier. The noise from their dormitory, you'd think they were sleeping next to mandrakes. He said I had a complexion like a hippocampus egg. Fancy saying that? I think it's because I don't sleep well. He's absolutely sweet on me, I'm sure of it. Every time he's around me, he's crooning at me. It's like being courted by a manticore. Obviously, the best greenhouse is the one with the dangerous plants. Do you think we'll learn how to brew Amortentia? Strongest love potion, they say. Not that I care, you understand. I was just wondering. Garlic asked me to explain to the class the main use of plants. I said picking them. What? We're quite fortunate the school's so close to Hogsmeade. There's nothing like it in all of Britain, you know. About the only place that doesn't come with the risk of encountering a muggle. Do you happen to have any Valerian sprigs? I really wanted to have a go at a forgetfulness potion, only I can't remember where I put mine. I think Diffindo should be taught in the first year. Why stave off the mayhem? If I had to pick one shop, it'd be Gladrags. Mr. Hill is always very helpful, don't you find? As far as I can see, the only potion worth learning is Sleeping Draught. Best timed for history of magic. It's hardly worth studying for potions, unless you're anticipating being poisoned sometime in the near future. I don't know about demiguises, but Howin had me on hot bricks the other day, telling us about her colleague who befriended a griffin. I put my hand up and said we had a griffin come by our street once and tried to get our rabbit. My sister had to run out after it, throwing stones till it flew off. I thought Howin would be impressed, but oh, the glare! She said you never meddle with dangerous beasts. If you ask me, she's the dangerous beast. It's awful if you're sat near someone and they're trying to pass notes about. Half the time I get the blame, and Hecate has no tolerance for that, I can tell you. Apparently Sharp made quite an example of her. One could view it as a sort of a punishment if it wasn't for the lake. I could be locking all you scallywags up in Azkaban one day. Apparently they just kept repeating words to a naughty song Peeves wrote. Best thing Peeves has ever done. I wouldn't be surprised if they haven't snuck something into their dormitory. Who wants to learn about Bubba That's a serious question. Thought you could sneak past me, hey? I've caught you! I could swear I saw them with a Grindylow the other day. Herbology's much more fun when there's untoward spells on the loose. I think I heard something. No high marks in discretion for you. Move along. What was that? Looks like it won't be an exciting night after all. Must have been a ghost. Didn't see a ghost. Lost, are we? Or is there something more to your wandering where you don't belong? A prefect's job is never done. A student in the faculty tower would be most improper. Perhaps I take my prefecture too seriously. No, not possible. Forgot to read the chapter for potions today. Wish I had a potion to remind myself to do my homework. You can't outwit a prefect. I've studying to do. No time for these shenanigans. What a duel. Professor Sharp terrifies me. He glanced sideways at me last week and I almost dropped an entire flobberworm into my cauldron. I prefer to study in the library. It's always much too loud in the common room. I'd wager the Hufflepuff common room's the cosiest of them all. Simply the fact that it's so close to the kitchens makes it seem more homely. I thought it would be hard adjusting to sharing a room, but I rather enjoy the company. Natty doesn't seem to mind having her mother as a teacher at all. I'd hide in my common room if it were me. The other girls and I were up all night reading letters from my secret admirer. They're very jealous of me, I'm sure. Poor Susan in those second-hand robes. Looks like her grandmother in them. Smells like her too. No better feeling than plunging your hands into greenhouse soil. Unless you accidentally uproot a baby mandrake. My friends and I lose track of the time whenever we're at the Three Broomsticks. Nearly missed exams one year, we were so engrossed in our butterbeers. I mistook a Snargaluff pod for a puffer pod the other day in herbology. Won't be making that mistake again anytime soon. Some think Professor Shah is hard to read, but I find her as easy to read as a star chart. She has no patience for time wasting. Can't decide if I like Professor Weasley or Professor Hecate more. Hecat. No, Weasley. Ugh, they're both brilliant. My brothers and I prefer pumpkin juice with our mince pies. My aunt introduced us to those years ago. Hogwarts always has another mystery to discover. If I don't find a way to concentrate, I'll fail my owls for certain. Nothing better than a few pints of butterbeer and a pile of mince pies with my sisters on Christmas Eve. I haven't been down to the boathouse since arriving in my first year. Perhaps I'll pay a visit. I do look forward to going home for the holidays. Mum's pumpkin pasties are the best I've ever had. Have you ever visited any of the hamlets outside of Hogsmeade? Some nice shops to be found. I wish I was an animagus that could fly. A raven or an owl. Then I wouldn't need my own broom. I hear Upper Hogsfield is lovely. Or was it Lower Hogsfield? Well, both Hogsfields. Patrick Redding is surprisingly sombre, considering he runs a shop as fun as Honeydukes. I think I'd have made an excellent seeker. I have a sharp eye. Can spot the shadow of a demiguise in the snow. No better feeling than the wind in your hair as you fly above the world on a broom. My sister organised Quidditch practice all summer to prepare for this year. She was most upset when it was cancelled. My favourite room in the school is the library. It always smells of fresh parchment. I thought Professor Black would get rid of all the Muggle-born students. Too much to hope for, I suppose. I'm glad there's a Slytherin in charge of the school, willing to make the hard decisions. I hope I'm wealthy enough one day to buy every broom model at Spintwitch's. I wish I received letters from home more often. I like knowing what my sisters are up to. The youngest is learning to denome the garden. I can't wait till all my sisters are at Hogwarts with me. Their turn to send the owls home. Power should be kept in the oldest pureblood families, like the Blacks. Wouldn't want riffraff running things. That's what my mother says. I do get nervous when the owls fly into the Great Hall. One's bound to crash into me eventually. Yes, it is. Hogwarts must have hundreds of owls in the owlery. Wonder there's any mice left. I wish I was a metamorph magus. Imagine being able to change your eye colour depending on your mood. I'd hate transfiguration if it wasn't for Weasley. She definitely takes the fear out of it, and that's saying something. I should think there's an entire ward in St. Mungo's for transfiguration accidents. Goodness, look how fast they're going. I love switching spells. Swapped my brother's treacle tart for a fish pie once. He still won't eat around me.
Why are you helping Zenobia? You don't enjoy that wretched game, do you?
She's been the top racer for too long. A hippogriff. I'm jealous. That what we're wearing today? Never quite sure about Professor Fig. I can't believe he's gone. I don't feel safe going to Hogsmeade anymore. I don't feel safe anymore. Not with Ranrock's siege. You won every single battle at Crossed Wands. Brilliant. I'd wager Imelda's ego's feeling a bit deflated now. I think you're the first two-legged friend Poppy's had. Held your own on Summoner's Court. You and Natty seem inseparable these days. Glad someone finds our meets conversations interesting. You and Sebastian seem to be true friends. He's needed one since Anne left. Seems you and Imelda have become fast friends. Knew it was too good to be true. Pratt's back. Surprised you spend so much time with Everett. Half of Hogsmeade might have been destroyed if not for you. Ugh, what's this about? Someone's moved Ferdinand to the Hog's Head. Oh, thank Merlin the Three Broomsticks is finally free of Ferdinand Octavius Pratt. Don't know where we'd all be without you. Why are you trying to get in there? Well done besting Sebastian at dueling. So nice to have the bells ringing again. Watch yourself. Pardon you? Looks as if Poppy's finally made a friend. Ugh, that startled me. Those Ashwinders are running scared now. Well, that's not clever. Goblins don't stand a chance against you. 50 poachers defeated. Incredible.
Flipendo, 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 Glacius, Glacius, Flipendo, Glacius, Confringo, Bombarda, Levioso, Bombarda, Protego, Bombarda.
Flipendo! Expulso! Whatever's happened to that portrait, it serves him right for always telling on us. You're looking smart. It's you! Now that's a good surprise. Aha! Always glad to see you. Glacius! Levioso! Don't forget to make some time for us to chat. Hope you're well. Good to see you. Hope all is well. Taking care of yourself, I hope. Hello? Whose bright idea was it to have a poltergeist in a school? School treating you well, I hope. He's out of control. I think I'm getting the hang of it. Ridiculous. Truly. It's not every day I get an audience. Shall I try to go a little faster? No, not again. Oh, did you want to watch me practice? I don't mind. Oh, well, I'll manage it eventually. Put those out for Merlin's sake. Oh, you impossible poltergeist. You should be ashamed of yourself. What? Professor Black? Here? That's one thing I won't miss about Hogwarts. I'm a prefect too, you twit. She's right. Why don't you leave goblins alone, you troll? What have I done now? The headmaster is coming this way. Woohoo! Woohoo! I wonder. It's brilliant. Good breeze for it today. Lovely, aren't they? Must be different, starting Hogwarts in your 5th year. She gets bolder every year. Have you heard Lenora Everly going on about a mystery frame? Belongs in St. Mungo's, if you ask me. Ugh! What is this? Shame you weren't born with wings, Nellie. I'm sure you'd use them. Nellie'll do anything for a thrill. Don't fall off this time, Nellie. Mind the wand! I asked Ronan what he'd recommend for a billywig sting, and he laughed and said, try not to be seen. I don't find that funny at all. I suppose in all fairness, one should be prepared for anything. My family has a lineage of exemplary flyers. It's no wonder Splintwitches is desperate for me to buy a broom there. Nobody can do a hex like me. And I dare you to prove me wrong. You saw that first year with the engorged head. That was me. Showing off is a muggle trait. You don't see that sort of behaviour in the wizarding world. My parents visited the school once. All I can say is thank Merlin it's against school policy to let them in the common room. It's no wonder Ravenclaws are so clever, though, isn't it? Having to solve things every time you want to go into the common room. Bit much, I'd say. It doesn't seem right to me. Always encouraging me to keep plenty of Wiggenweld potion in my trunk. Slytherins almost always use the door to the right of the entrance hall. There's always someone snoring in our dormitory. One of the girls, too. And she talks in her sleep. Slytherins are lucky they get to sleep next to the lake. Water is so soothing. We'd have more fun in our dormitory if the prefects would conveniently go on holiday. I tried to brew some Amortentia once. It was an awful disaster. I thought he'd take an interest in me. My aunt made some Amortentia once, because she wasn't getting along well with my uncle. How are there so many lectures in herbology? Do you think it's possible to spend time with any of the merpeople from the lake? My older brother used to terrorise me with a fanged geranium. You can get all sorts of clothing at Glad Rags. Not just common wear either. I've seen rare garments there. Very powerful, I'd imagine. I can't say I feel the need for that sort of thing, mind. I'd be quite content with a new pair of socks. It's not the written exam that worries me with herbology, it's the practical. All of the shopkeepers like me. I know they do. They always put a bit of something extra in the bag for me. I think they're drawn to my charm. Also, my parents spend a lot in Hogsmeade, but I don't think that's it. I'd like to see your parents' faces when they see your marks at the end of term. Perhaps you should work on your polyjuice potion so you can pay them a visit as sharp and lie yourself silly about how marvellous you are and how you exceeded expectations. Oh, do shut up. Oh, everybody knows you're in remedial potions. Oh, did you hear about the new spell we're learning in charms? I can't wait. You know it's going to be a laugh with Ronan. And have you seen how these professors look at your clothes? Black looks at me like I'm a pauper. I swear the man thinks I have fleas. The professors are only trying to ensure that we're familiar with as much magic as possible. We're all naturally the epitome of competence, so why would we need to show off? We had more sweets stashed than all of Honeydukes. I have Black to thank for that one. Mr. Weeks says I'd be a marvellous advertisement for his shop. The stone steps are behind it. You can't miss them. If you're a Slytherin, of course. He wouldn't back down, even when my mother threatened to report him. Although he did give us all detention after, and took the sweets. Aww. It's making me quite paranoid, if I'm honest. Always muttering on about meeting a boy at Steepley's. I think I know who it is, too. It's as if she's planning to poison me in the night, and she sleeps next to me. Howen says Cyprus is nice this time of year. Seemed to do the trick. Although I did always suspect she'd actually given him a sleeping draught. I always used to hear my mother speak of herbology, and it sounded delightful. I feel utterly tricked. Not, I mean, a particular one, just any of them. But if there was a particular one, never mind. All he kept talking about was smelling wonderful dragon dung. Turns out his family worked in fertilizer. I shall never forgive Garlic for that. Fancy having one of those things around children. Surely there can't be that much difference between what's consumed by a mooncalf and a dragon. I can barely recognise a toadstool, let alone tell the difference between dungs. You'll pay for this. I'm not sure how, but you will. The nerve of some students, thinking they can simply go anywhere uninvited. I'd bet my badge I heard someone. This has gone on long enough. Who's there? Oh, drat! And I wanted to deduct some house points. Desperately need to improve my charms marks this year. Perhaps I can find a housemate to levitate. Well, if a student was here, then not now. That's all that matters, I suppose. Professor Weasley said she'd help me with my switching spells after class. I think she's tired of finding partially transfigured items about the classroom. I could never duel like that. I'm avoiding our common room today. Ronan's testing on Accio and students are summoning objects right and left. Nearly lost an eye to a rogue quill. Oh, someone prodded a Mimbless Mimbletonia in the common room. Stink sap everywhere. I'm avoiding it entirely until they or the house elves clean it up. As a Muggleborn, I never expected to come face to face with a man eating cabbage. I brought sweets from Honeydukes to share with the girls in my dormitory tonight. No acid pops, though. Not before bed. We stayed up almost the entire night the other week talking about schoolwork. Tried what I thought was a smoothing elixir for my hair. Oh, I think I was tricked. Smells like flobberworm mucus. Oh! My father writes to me every week asking about classes and wondering if I've made any new friends. I dread mail. Every time our owl appears in the Great Hall, I simply cringe. Never seen devil snare in the wild. Would be terrifying to encounter, I'd think. I'm happy to read about it, mind. Hogsmeade's no London, mind you. But it'll do in a pinch. Professor Hecat is intimidating, but then she has a serious subject to teach. Can't afford to coddle students when it comes to defence against the dark arts. At first, I thought Professor Garlick might be too young to be a professor, but she's more than capable. Knows her gillyweed from her Gurdy-root, that one. My entire family's been sorted into Hufflepuff. Except for me, that is. Makes sense. Not one for hard work, if I'm honest. Do you think anyone has found every secret passage in Hogwarts? Wouldn't surprise me if new ones popped up occasionally. Oh, I've been turned around on the grand staircase one too many times. I simply avoid it now. My brother just started at Hogwarts as a Gryffindor. Thought for certain he'd be Slytherin. Cunning as he is. Oh, my mother makes the most delicious Alahotzi fudge every Christmas. Can barely fit into my school robes when it's time to come back. I enjoy having lunch down by the lake. Except when the giant squid splashes about. Not much for soggy sandwiches. Sometimes I wish I needed a new wand, just so I'd have an excuse to visit Ollivander's again. I could open wand boxes all day. I'd like to do some window shopping in Hogsmeade this weekend. Don't have the galleons to actually buy anything. Beatrice Green from Dogweed and Deathcap is an odd woman. Caught her talking to her plants the other day, having a full conversation she was. Quite interesting, actually. Oh, I don't like how flying messes up my hair. Do we really need to practice flying on a broomstick? I thought that was the purpose of trains. Broomsticks are so out of date. I'd rather travel by Flu Network any day. I'm far too afraid of heights to fly on a broom. What? It's nothing to be ashamed of. I don't see you racing about the towers. Imelda Reyes is always arranging broom trials. She's only trying to top her old records. Such a show-off. Professor Black was terrible before he decided to cancel Quidditch. That decision was the icing on the cauldron cake, if you ask me. How many letters do you think come in and out of Hogwarts every day? I can't believe Black is still the headmaster. He obviously hates the job. And it's not like he's short a few galleons. Owls must be incredibly intelligent to deliver all those letters. I still get lost looking for our common room. I wish the headmaster would retire. Let Professor Weasley take over for him. I never know what to say when I write to my mother. Hello, Mother. Classes are horrendously boring, and Professor Binns is still as dull as when you were in school. Everyone knows you can't conjure food. Haven't you heard of Gamp's Law? The most I've ever been able to conjure was a single quill. Not sure I'll ever master that one. Do you think it's painful to be in a half-transfigured state? How rare a metamorphmaguy anyway? Don't listen to him, Duncan. You're absolutely right to be wary of those horrid little furballs. I hope someone can knock Imelda down a peg. Lenora is so easily distracted. It's been ages since I've sent an owl back home. My father will be worrying. Perhaps next week. I hear the bells again. Black will not be pleased about this, but the rest of us will. Merlins! Watch them fly! Graphorn riding! Seems rather risky. Oh, is there anything more majestic than a hippogriff in flight? I can't say that I blame you. Pyjamas are exceedingly comfortable. Armoured trolls! First I've heard of that. Professor Fig will be sorely missed. The accounts of Ranrock and his loyalists beneath the castle seem too incredible to be real. It takes a fair bit of skill with a wand to win every duel crossed once. Never thought I'd see the day someone beat Imelda at her own game trials. I'd say you're the royalty of Summoner's Court. Bit of an adventurer, that Natty. I see her out and about all the time. Don't know where she's off to. Keep an eye out when you're with Sebastian. He's got a penchant for trouble, that one. Poppy's got a soft spot for beasts. I think that speaks well of her. Amit's not a bad fellow, really. Bit too obsessed with stargazing for my taste, but seems nice enough. Don't let your guard down with Everett. Has a particular proclivity for dung bombs, that one. Imelda's not too bad, if you don't mind the non-stop criticism. Oh, Hogsmeade owes you a great debt. Well done, taking down a fully grown troll. Oh, for the love of Merlin, you put him back. Ferdinand got what he deserved. We owe you a debt for destroying that twit's portrait. You stuck that old cockroach's portrait in the hog's head? He'll hate that. Wouldn't it be easier to use a key? I don't know how you did it, but you saved Hogwarts. You'll be remembered forever for this. I reckon Sebastian did not expect such a sound defeat in Defense Against the Dark Arts. How dare you! I suppose it's nice that Poppy is befriending humans for a change. What was that for? It's so nice to hear the bells again. Thank you for putting things right, and annoying Professor Black in the process. Doing a bit of redecorating. Oh, hello. People get injured all the time in Quidditch. This is about more than that.
Protego, Flipendo, Glacius, Levioso, Confringo. Oh, I always have time for you. Who are you trying to impress? Rookwood himself? Bombarda, make way for the headmaster. Do be sure to include yourself in my arrangements. Oh, the headmaster. Ah, my card said I'd cross paths with you. You, beaming like a bright star. Woohoo! It's not that funny. I have other engagements, but hello. I'm so sorry. Professor Fig was a good man. Apparently, Fig teaches comparative magic. What is that exactly? Woo! Don't think I've read you before. Those goblins learned the hard way that Hogwarts doesn't bow to invaders. Oh, how pretty. Ugh! Is this meant to be some sort of trick? It's not funny. If I get a snitch stuck in my hair, I'm going to hex someone. Very funny. Ah! Nox, I never knew such a pretty thing could be so annoying. Huh. Oh. It's nice to get out of the castle every now and again. Don't you agree? Well, I've yet to understand how one is expected to do the homework for Bin's class, since that would require staying awake for it. My cousin has one shaped like a flying horse. Saw a real one once at Beauxbatons. Pretty things. Someone threw a dung bomb. Let's get out of here. I enjoy a good chat with a portrait now and then, but Lenora Everleigh's talking to a frame with no one in it. Don't shy away now. It's impossible to do all of the homework they give you. I think they do it on purpose. Try riding a hippogriff. You'll soon learn that Kagawa's techniques are lacking practical uses. I once flew to Ipswich and back. Yes, I did. Don't look at me like that. I've seen all the moors. Every one of them. They all look the same. The only place I'm able to concentrate is in the library. It's also somewhat exciting waiting for the inevitable breach of silence. Well, Madame Kagawa said she's never seen anyone with such form on a broom. She even had the rest of the class watch me to see how it's done. I think it's rather unique that you can see the lake from the Slytherin Common Room. I bet all of the houses would appreciate it if you asked them. I find its location a little untoward myself. It's my favourite place in the entire school. If I didn't have that fireplace to sit next to, I think I should be terribly homesick. All I can say is, it's lucky the boys have their own dormitories. The mess they make. Some of us are tidier than others though, aren't we? You don't have to look far to know who the disgrace is in our dormitory. I bet Black could tell a few tales about his days at Hogwarts. When he was a student, I mean. I went to the lake once. Wanted to have a sing-song just by myself. Don't talk to me about humiliation. My broom went up like a bit of flint the other day. If someone says you have eyes like a demiguise, is that a compliment? I wish Professor Garlick would teach us more about flesh-eating trees. There seems so little about them. Perhaps one day someone will write a book on them. When my grandfather went to this school, Dilys Derwent was the headmistress. Marvellous healer, apparently. Very highly regarded. Bet she did better in potions than I'm doing in herbology. I did tell you not to put too much dragon manure on your Screech Snap seedlings. Augustus Hill just wants you to buy something, though. He's always talking his game. And then look at his face if you don't buy something. He's like a child with an empty pillowcase on Christmas morn. When I'm in Hogsmeade, I always pay a visit to Dogweed and Deathcap. Although Madam Green can be a little fiery sometimes, so you definitely want to stay on her good side. I wish we didn't have to use a dagger in potions. I'm not the least bit comfortable with it. Crush with the flat side of the dagger. It's most untoward if you ask me. The thing's lethal. I feel I'd be safer if I were being schooled by Rookwood. Is it possible to become an aura and not excel in potions? I think so, wouldn't you? It's all about demeanour, really, isn't it? Being an aura. Having a commanding stature. I think I shall be a force to be reckoned with. Even Madam Scribner's shown sympathy on that front, and that's saying something. Have you ever had a cauldron leak? I didn't think it was possible. And then one minute, I was stirring, and the next, I was swimming in Wolfsbane potion. Sharp almost threw his wand at me, I swear. Turned out I just spilt my flask. Wasn't my fault. If you ask me, the best thing about the Slytherin common room is that you don't have to walk far to potions. I enjoy divination, but when is Professor Anai going to tell us more about Africa? I've learned enough about ornithomancy to last me a lifetime. I want to hear about the Serengeti. I believe every common room has one. If I had to pick a professor to race against, it'd be Hecate. I'm serious, she's 1,000 years old. Or 75 or something. There's not a one of them comes out of there that doesn't look completely unkempt. Whoever's there, you'd best get yourself back to bed. Is someone sneaking about? Scorched all the bottom of my robes, it did. And there were 5 boys watching, all from Gryffindor. Simply awful. I've been riding hippogriff since I was 5. Comes naturally to me. And I've only been to hospital 4 times. You are most certainly up to no good, out in the castle now. Be on your way. Professor Howin was out on a stroll and said she thought she'd heard a banshee. I don't sing anymore. So much for a break from the tedium. No reason to get my wand in a knot after all. How dare you step foot in here? Can't imagine he'd appreciate being spied on all the time by prefects. The headmaster will hear about this. Not the wisest move on your part, wandering about at this hour. If I have to cast Revelio to find you, it won't be the last spell I cast. I've half a mind to haul you up to the headmaster's office. Is that a student? In the faculty tower? All clear here. Well, I've done my part. Lenora thinks she's quite the arts aficionado. Lenora's got someone else staring at empty paintings now. Some big hits that round. Amit Takar is already studying for owls. No wonder he doesn't have any friends. Perhaps it's a prank. Like the Emperor with no clothes. I'm not going to lose any more sleep over my potions homework. Brewed myself a sleeping draught just to be sure. Always wondered what the other house's common rooms looked like. Ours is the best, of course. Still, I do wonder. Someone was practicing with a broken wand in the common room last night. Looked like a war had broken out. All I have at home are brothers. I thought sharing a room with girls would be tidier. Clearly I was wrong. Thank goodness for the scouring charm. The sorting hat took ages to sort that poor first year from Upper Hogsfield. Couldn't find a strong enough trait is my guess. How awkward. Emily promised to help me style my hair. Give her a ribbon and a wand and she can do anything. My sister read my diary. Oh, entirely unfair that my mother wouldn't let me put a locking charm on it. I can't memorize 10 magical herbs, let alone 1,000 magical herbs and fungi. When would you even use them all? It's absurd. I'd love to have a house in one of the nearby hamlets. Imagine being able to pop into Hogsmeade for a butterbeer whenever you wanted. Almost fainted trying to harvest a pufferpod the other day. Those spores certainly make you dizzy. Professor Anai has fascinating stories about growing up in Uganda. Wish she'd teach us how to do wandless magic like they do at Wagadu. I'm convinced that behind her rather stodgy exterior, Professor Weasley's had some rather marvellous adventures. I adore playing wizard chess with my siblings. A bit violent, but Father says it's a good way to get out our frustrations. Never a dull moment when I go home for the holidays. Last year, my mother swore she heard a banshee. She couldn't sleep for fear that one of us was doomed. It's tradition in my family to play a game of Quidditch on the moors during the holidays. Do you find yourself taking certain ways to class based on the portraits you pass? I do. Some are much better conversationalists than others. The gardens at Hogwarts are impressive. Do you think Garlic maintains them? With the help of house elves, obviously. Quite a few hamlets outside of Hogsmeade. I'm going to try and visit them all this year. I'd spend all day in the Great Hall if I could. It's always so warm and lively. Serona at the Three Broomsticks always gives such good advice. Don't know how she remembers who we all are either. I enjoy my weekly visits to Dogweed and Deathcap. I find I'm more comfortable around plants than people, to be honest. I think it's for the best that Kagawa takes flying seriously. Far too easy for first years to injure themselves in class. Not to say that's not amusing. One boy fell off his broom during my flying class. Good thing Kagawa was there to catch him. She's very good at arresto momentum. Have you ever flown over the Black Lake and seen the squid? Obviously I have. Was just wondering. Imelda Reyes is on her way to becoming the fastest flyer in Hogwarts history. I think Madame Kagawa's brother is a professional Quidditch player. Wish I could meet him. I've no doubt that Black will be remembered as the worst headmaster Hogwarts has ever seen. No ability to have a rapport with his pupils whatsoever. Why would Black want to be headmaster of Hogwarts? Of course, I'm not sure what job he'd actually be good at. Perhaps something at Azkaban. What do you think Black's wife is like? She must be miserable. Although, not while he's here, perhaps. My family's owl is getting too old. Half of the letters end up in the local pond. Once, my sister sent me a howler simply because I brought one of her scarves to school with me. She never even wears it. I hope to have an owl of my own one day. I can't imagine receiving a howler, especially in front of the whole school during a feast. My cousin was transfigured into a mouse by an older bully last year. Took hours to get her to come out from under the bed. I managed to conjure a hedgehog once, but it disappeared after a few minutes. Shame. My mother adored Transfiguration when she was in school. I'm sure she's disappointed that I'm so terrible at it. Shame the new 5th year didn't beat Imelda's time. I used to like Transfiguration, but now it seems to be getting awfully complicated. How are they able to control a graphorn? Wonder if they can hear us down here. Hello? Professor Fig seemed so unshakable. I can't believe he's gone. I haven't seen Professor Fig in a while now. I hope he's all right. Oh, what a beautiful hippogriff. Who would have imagined the Loyalists to be so organised? Trolls don't just show up in Hogsmeade. Making our mark in fashion, are we? Still can't believe you won every single Crossed Wands battle. Nice work at Summoner's Court, by the way. If it isn't Natty's other half. I wonder if anyone else is terrified of Imelda. You should consider professional Quidditch. You and Sebastian are thick as thieves these days. Who knew Poppy was capable of making friends? Glad to see you and Amit becoming chums. Were you scared when the trolls attacked? I'd have been terrified if it isn't Everett's best friend. I wonder how Ferdinand's faring in the Hog's Head. So much for our freedom from Ferdinand. Don't do that near me. Locked doors never stay locked around here. You're an honest-to-goodness hero, you are. Thank Merlin Ferdinand's portrait was destroyed. Watch what you're doing. Someone's in a brutish mood. Goodness, how did you beat Sebastian in that duel? I can't believe those infernal bells are ringing again.
Protego, Confringo.
Flipendo, Glacius, Confringo, Protego. That is quite the breach of decorum. Levioso, Bombarda. Calling you beastly would be an insult to beasts. Where are your manners? So nice to see you. Lovely to see you. Always believe in yourself. Oh, hello there. Hello. Always a pleasure to see you. How do you do? Take care. Greetings. As always, a pleasure. Nox. Huh. Oh. Oh no. Not the headmaster. Not now. I must be going before the headmaster sees me. Kindly set me down. Ha ha! Not quite. What am I to do up here? Oh, my goodness, that's hot. How very rude. I shall definitely come down with a cold after this. I do hope that hurt. Serves you right. Oh, got a splitting headache. Oh, terrible chill in the air. Barely a scuff. What are you playing at? Was that deliberate? Plants should spread beauty, not pain. What a rotten trick to teach your shrubbery. Stop this terrible racket. I can't hear myself think. I'll soon pare you down. What do you think you're doing? That's mine, thank you. Are you quite finished? This has changed my opinion of foliage. I do prefer the ground, you know. How dare you! Did you tame that graphorn yourself? Oh, bless my heart. Oh, there's no feeling quite like riding a broom. The freedom, the wind in your hair. If you don't mind. Oh, nice conditions for a broom ride. What an uncivil way to get about. I wish I had my own flying beast. Look at that wingspan. How majestic. Merlin knows what the Rookwoods would have done with that hippogriff if you hadn't rescued it. I'm so relieved you rescued Archie Bickle from those dreadful Rookwoods. It's reassuring to know that Isco's safe again. Foul things. Absolutely foul. How brave of you to stand up to Rookwood. Most improper. Poor old Sebastian has detention again. Will he ever learn to stay out of the restricted section? I see you're getting on with Ominous Gaunt. Nice chap, that one. Pity Anne Sallow hasn't returned yet. I do hope she recovers quickly. You versus Imelda. What a showdown that was. Professor Fig must have some fascinating stories for you to spend so much time with him. I'm sorry to hear about Professor Fig. I never even got to take his class. Woo! Goblins would do well to never step foot on school grounds again. Woo! My fingers have gone all wrinkly. Will it ever stop raining? Marvellous. There has to be a spell for this. My hands are freezing. How can I cast? And me without the scarf my gran knitted me. Ah! Ordinarily, I adore the snow. Freezing. Hold on. Oh, thank goodness that's over. Someone is going to regret this once I'm Minister for Magic. If I could only remember the spell. If you try to study in the library, at least you can be assured of peace and quiet. Madam Scribner sees to that. Oh, wish I could get warm. Oh, yeah. When I fell off my broom and broke 6 bones, they said they'd never seen Skelegro work so fast. I wonder if it's even quieter in the restricted section of the library. And what would happen if you made a noise? All of my relatives work at the ministry. Every one of them. I suppose I'll probably be a higher up there one day. Let's just stay in with me. There's simply too much information if you ask me. Surely it's not all necessary. Next thing you know, they'll be teaching us about muggles. Why would Helga Hufflepuff have you tap on barrels, though? That's the only thing that mystifies me. Our neighbour at home knows someone who's related to the inventor of Skelegro. It's true. Limfrid of Stinchcombe his name was. I bet garlic had a say in it. Why else would it be the only common room with plants? She's obviously showing favouritism. If you ask any Hufflepuff, they'll tell you there's a badger in their common room. Weasley said she always found the dormitory a good place to read. Better than the library. I do wish I had a bigger trunk, though. I thought a boy was trying to be nice to me the other day. Offered to carry my books, he did. Oh, charming, I thought. I don't trust any of the boys. You find one venomous tentacular on your pillow and you don't soon forget. When someone says something nice to you, it's only because they want something. Someone passed me a note in class with a heart on it. I went bright red. You shouldn't get so upset in herbology. The rate you're going, you'll need a calming draught. Well, I don't find herbology the least bit amusing. I've been smacked in the face twice now by a bouncing bulb, and garlic didn't do a thing. Don't laugh. I don't mind herbology myself. I'll take a mandrake any day over an annoying little puffskein. The last time I was at Dogweed and Deathcap, Madam Green had everything from Dittany seeds to shrivel figs. Just be careful not to upset her, though, or she might set a venomous tentacular on you. Anyone fancy going to Brood and Peck with me? I've been wanting to go for ages. My friend said they have very high-quality feathers, and I need one from my jobber knoll. Can't remember why. I need someone to lend me some potions ingredients. Don't give me that look. I told you before I was only musing about a love potion. As if I'd actually brew one. I wouldn't have the faintest idea what to put in one. Let alone finding powdered moonstone or ashwinder eggs. I had an awful time in potions the other day. Someone had scribbled all over the pages of my book of potions. The margins were as black as soot. And it was a copy from library. Scribner's going to have me for that. My aunt has some potions recipes she swears are from Zygmunt Budge himself. What? She wouldn't make it up. She says they're ones he didn't put in the book of potions. Likely powerful spells for the complexion. What? Why are you looking at my chin like that? Stop it! I'm going to have my own telescope one day. I've already decided that Jupiter's my favourite planet. Although I suppose Saturn's got the rings going for it. I wonder if you learn different things about astronomy at a Ouagadougou. Although I can't see anyone being as passionate about it as Shah. Said I must have special marrow in my bones or something. They did. Apparently very nice it was. Probably Ficus. My mother's extremely thoughtful. I'm afraid I have more knitted socks than the Glad Rags Christmas Bazaar. And our neighbour's best friend Sally had a friend down the lane whose great-great-grandfather knew the man who used to tend his hedge. Oh! I don't think they'd let me have 2 trunks, though. I suppose the dormitory isn't especially spacious. Likely that was before we had Madame Scribner reigning over things. I keep a sharp eye now. I could tell you that. That's what my mother says. Which is disconcerting because she always tells me I'm clever. Then they told me to pass it to the girl sat next to me. Just wonder what she's after. Took me ages, that did. I suppose it was nice while it lasted. I never thought I'd actually enjoy herbology. But Professor Garlick makes it so interesting. She's forgotten more than I'll ever know about mandrakes. I wouldn't say Professor Howen has a particular affinity for beasts, but she's certainly knowledgeable. I imagine that's why she teaches the class. Got to class and only realised he'd pilfered my homework. And it was conjuring spells. I find the girls to be messier than trolls, truth be told. Accidentally levitated Professor Ronan's sandwich once. He was fine about it. Actually complimented me on my wand work. Why study in the common room when you can be outside in the fresh air? I'd rather be in the courtyard than a musty old library any day. The chairs in the common room are too comfortable. Closed my eyes for 2 seconds the other day. Woke up 2 hours after charms. I miss having my own bedroom. One of the girls in our room recites potion recipes in her sleep, another sings, and another mumbles incantations. Did you see Claire's hair today? She tried a colour-changing charm on it, and it's essentially the colour of dragon dung. Wish I could have studied here when Phila Spore was headmistress. Greatest herbologist of all time. I've read 1,000 magical herbs and fungi at least 1,000 times. I'm trying to grow some asphodel in the greenhouses. Such a beautiful flower. I almost hate drying out the roots for potions. Sharp was in a mood the other day. Not a single student got their sleeping draft right, and he vanished the contents of every cauldron in the room with one cast. My aunt says I should get to Hogsmeade as often as I can. Says it's good to get out of the castle sometimes. All of my siblings have gone on to work for the ministry, but I'm not sure I want to do that. Unless it's an aura. Oh, I'd like to be an aura. My family has a lot of Muggle traditions, from my mother's side. I don't mind most of them, but cooking without magic can get exhausting. Defense against the dark arts can be intimidating. But Professor Hecat actually makes it seem manageable. My family has been sorted into Ravenclaw for generations. Bit of a bookish lot, one might say. Have you ever seen a professor outside the castle? I find it jarring to see someone like Professor Weasley at the Three Broomsticks. Wish I could see what Hogwarts looks like to Muggles. Bet it's terrifying. I adore spending sunny afternoons in the Viaduct courtyard. Wonderful place to practice Accio on other students' books. If you lean forward on your broom just right, you can get an incredible burst of speed. I'd like to shop in the hamlets, but I'm too afraid to venture out alone with all that's going on. Life seems rather dull in the hamlets around here. I'd much rather live in a big city like London. Thomas Brown knows more about books than anyone. Well, perhaps not Madame Scribner, but anyone else, I'd say. Albie Weeks has been experimenting with new broom models for a while now. The best way to learn how to fly a broomstick is by trial and error. In my case, it was a lot of error. Oh, I wish I could spend all day in flying. Should have been born a hippogriff. I thought about transferring to Beauxbatons just to get away from Professor Black and his iron fist. But then I remembered that I don't speak French. Whoever decided to make Professor Black headmaster of Hogwarts must have been the victim of a flock of whoopers. Out of their mind. I've heard that Isaac Cooper receives several owls a week from secret admirers. I suppose he is rather dashing. I doubt there's ever been a headmaster as hated as Black. Dubious honour indeed. Wouldn't it be romantic to fly amongst the stars? Even Professor Shah might think so. Or not. How do owls know where to deliver their letters? My mother was shocked the first time I sent her an owl from Hogwarts. She'd never seen anything like it. She's a muggle, so of course that makes sense. What? Don't make that face. A Beginner's Guide to Transfiguration was Miley's favourite textbook. I cannot seem to wrap my head around the subject. Wish someone would send me a love letter. Doubt that'll ever happen. I hated learning banishment. Never had such abysmal marks. Transfiguration requires such precision. I once turned my pet rabbit into a candlestick. Mother was furious when she set the table and it hopped away. I hope I'm next. I'll be the fastest. I'm dreading taking my Transfiguration owl. Absolutely dreading it. I'd rather jinx myself than have to explain reasons for the exceptions to Gamp's law. Wonder if they'd get detention for flying this far out here. Me too. Had my eye on a new frock from Glad Rags for weeks. Oh, what did you do that for? Huh? If I could ride a hippogriff, I'd show off too. Wonder if that Graphorn's tame. Seems awfully dangerous. Never knew Fig well, but it sounds as if he was a remarkable man. Taking a stroll in our pyjamas, are we? I hope my mother didn't hear about the troll attack. She'd take me straight out of school. Might need a sleeping draft. I've had nightmares about loyalists ever since the siege. You absolutely smashed it at Summoner's Court. That must be a record. Beating Imelda 3 times. You and Sebastian are best friends now. Don't let Ominous hear about it. I hear Poppy's adopted you too. Well done at Crossed Wands. You're a natural. Where's a meet? I heard the two of you are friends now. I'm glad you're friends with Imelda. Up until now, I assumed her best friend was her broomstick. You and Everett get up to anything fun lately? Thank goodness you really are in one piece. I heard that troll was thunderous. Can't believe you put Ferdinand's frame back in the 3 broomsticks. I hope Ferdinand gets his just dues in the Hog's Head. Heard you burned Ferdinand's painting. Thank you from us all. Think something interesting's behind that lock? My uncle was sent to Azkaban for that. You really showed those Ashwinders, didn't you? I hear we have you to thank for saving the school. I don't know how you did it. Good work out dueling, Sebastian. Those loyalists never stood a chance. Brilliant work. You're new, so you wouldn't know, but most of us consider Poppy a bit of an odd bird. You could do better than that. I don't know how you went against the poachers and made it out alive. I'm so relieved to hear those bells ringing again. Oof. Do be careful. Nerida simply stands by the water, staring down. Why won't she learn how to swim? Levioso! Protego! Having fun spending time with Natty? Flipendo! Levioso! Flipendo! Glacius! Confringo! Flipendo! Levioso! Glacius! Confringo! Protego! Confringo! Glacius!